Hello everybody, I'm Movie Wisecracker, and I am about to do a live review of The Unworthy Thor issue number 1. Alright, let's talk about The Unworthy Thor, basically. I just got done finishing reading up issue number 1 of The Unworthy Thor. It starts off with him battling certain foes. And I like one particular scene when he says he might have lost his hammer, Mimor, but he still has one favorite thing that he can still do, which is beat up trolls. But then he goes on and on rambling about how he has two things that he still keeps dear to him, which is fighting trolls and drinking. It's pretty funny. Like, what I really enjoyed most about this comic book, it shows Thor when he's not at his best. He's like at his worst, and he's no longer like he's not even a ruler of Asgard or anything. He doesn't even have his hammer no more. Like, he's completely out of power. All he has is a normal battle axe, and he still wrecks stuff even though he doesn't have his powers anymore. But in this issue number 1 comic, he's basically searching for another hammer, basically. But this time it's not really a hammer that he has to find. It's like a battle axe with special powers, basically. Basically, he's no longer king. Asgard's is like in ruins, and he can't even fly anymore because he has no powers, and he can't like teleport to other realms because his power is gone because he's no longer worthy, and that's why the comic book's called Unworthy Thor, basically. Like, it's pretty fun on his journey because he has to use a goat to travel because he can't fly. And there's like this particular part of the comic book that is so troll off and not to touch his goat, as if the goat was like his best friend. Well, technically, it's probably his only friend at this moment within the comic book because he's not even considered an Avenger within this comic book on issue number 1 because he has no powers. That's crazy because when I go through each page, it's so fun and memorable. Like, you can tell he's like wrecking stuff right here. And it's crazy. Like, even though he has no powers, he's still able to fight them. He's still able to do battle. Where he's like at a certain planet, and he does find like a hammer, but the person that gives the power to the hammer no longer exists within that realm. So he talks to like a dark figure in this comic book. Let's see where he's at. There's a dark figure called, let's see, calls himself the Unseen, which is right there. The Unseen. Basically, the Unseen is able to witness things that are good and bad within any type of realm. And the Unseen basically tells Thor that there is another. And at first, Thor doesn't understand what he's saying to him at the moment, and then he then suddenly he's like, he suddenly figures out that, wow, there is another hammer that he can find that possesses a power that he can withstand. So he goes and travels with the goat, of course, to find that Asgard had been stolen from someone, which is pretty crazy because he doesn't know where his planet at, and he asks one of the people he knows. I can't remember the person's name, but he's dressed like Thor, basically. Let's see, what is his name? It's Beta Ray Bill. Yeah. So he goes to Beta Ray Bill, and Beta Ray Bill doesn't feel like he's worthy anymore because the planet of Asgard is the realm of Asgard is completely stolen, and he's no longer worthy to yield his hammer, basically. And basically, he gives him the hammer at the end of the comic book because he doesn't feel like stole Asgard, basically. I love the art design though. Look at that. They do very well within this comic book. Like, I like how they show like the galaxy and stuff. There's Thor talking to Beta Ray Bill. There's one part that I love in particular. Like, I really love within this comic book. And that's when he's about to fight the trolls. Basically, that right there is hilarious. And then this scene right here when he's standing up there with the goat. It's pretty funny. Like, from this scene, you can tell Thor right here that he's no longer worthy at the beginning of the comic book. Issue number 2. It was not bad at all. It was fun to read. The artwork is amazing. Like, I can't wait to read this. Like, it reminded me a lot of Thor Ragnarok in a way. But I actually like this comic book better than the Thor Ragnarok film because it may have comedy, but Thor's riding a goat because he has no powers. So I'm going to rate out a 10 out of 10 scale. I'd give it like an 8.10 because this is only the first issue and I have to find out who took Asgard, who stole it. And I gotta see what he's gonna do in issue number 2 with his new hammer and what kind of powers he will have next. So 8.5 out of 10. And that's all I have to say about this comic book. This comic book is a very good comic book, and this is my first Thor comic book, and I enjoyed it very well. Well, I'm Movie Wisecrack. Please like,